Today is December 31st. It is officially New Year's Eve, and that's why this is the absolute perfect time for us to do what I like to call our very first ever year in review. So what will the year in review actually encompass? It's going to encompass everything that's happened this year up until today, up until the 31st of December of 2022. And I want to show you guys sort of like this roller coaster of a year. 2022 really was like a roller coaster in many different ways, both emotionally, physically, and also, mentally. It was a roller coaster this year. So I'm going to show you guys sort of like the ups and downs, and maybe you guys are going to enjoy it, and maybe you guys would want to see in more detail these sort of events play out throughout the year. So let's go back in time a little bit and see what was going on all the way back in the beginning of this year. So back in January is when I decided to go ahead and sort of like tease that we would be going back to the Disney parks, because it had been 2 years that we hadn't gone back, and we had officially now renewed our annual passes so that we could come back and enjoy that time. So we took a few days and we came out and we actually enjoyed the parks. Back then, masks were still a thing. So, you had to go on attractions while wearing masks. So that is why some of my footage, you'll see me actually wearing a mask, because that's what was happening back then. It was just absolutely important to do that. So that was really, kind of like a mood shift from the beginning of this year up until now, And it was really a great way to start this year, by the way, because what was to come, I had no idea. But it was a great way to start the year. It was fun. I really enjoyed that trip. We got some really cool photos. And ultimately, it's always going to be that sort of like incredible memory for me that we got to come back at the beginning of 2022 and really like make videos, vlogs, because I wasn't really vlogging up until, beginning of this year. So that was really fun. So yeah, first trip of the year was amazing. So fast forward a few months and we are now in March, and we are looking at our Flower and Garden Festival concert list. And we see one concert that we really want to go see, and that is Kool and the Gang, which was our first maybe our second, by the way. That was probably our second official concert at Disney, because we had already watched, I think it was Richard Marx back in 2019, but we wanted to see a whole other band, and Kool and the Gang was coming to Orlando. So we planned our entire trip, which was literally just like 2 days, I believe. I think that's what it was. I think we came up, we slept, we did the park, then we did so that was 2 days. And it was probably a really cool 2 days that we did. We even, on our last day, we had some time and we actually went to Hollywood Studios. We did Rise of the Resistance, and that was really cool. And that concert was amazing. It was fun. I had a blast. Honestly, I had a blast seeing Kool and the Gang, and it was only sort of like a little appetizer of what was to come this year. So as much as we were riding high, in the first 2-3 months of 2022, then came April and May, which I would probably say was probably one of the two toughest months of my life. probably one of the two toughest moments of my life, because we had to, it was kind of like a surprise that we had to move. The owner was selling the house, that we were renting, and we had to, kind of find a place in a very sort of messy market that we're in right now. I mean, it's not a fun thing to be pressured into moving, but I kind of kept my hopes up. I put out a vlog like right before I put out the moving vlog, explaining that maybe this would be a positive thing, and that the change was going to help us in some sort of way. And it was really tough. I don't show it so much on the vlogs, but it was a really tough move. And yeah, man, it was probably one of the toughest 2 months of my life, because we had to really almost like bend over backwards in order to kind of like make this happen. And it was kind of a very last minute thing, and yeah, it was really tough. So amongst all the craziness of this year, we were actually able to go to the theater to see 2 movies. One was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I had a blast watching, and we had Top Gun Maverick, which is now considered probably one of the best movies of 2022. I haven't watched Avatar yet, because, and I'll tell this to anyone, I love Avatar, but I haven't watched it yet, and when I get to watch it, I'm pretty sure that's going to be my number 1 movie of 2022, but that's a conversation for another time. So after 2 months, of searching homes and all that, and we actually found a place to be and moved to, and then, after almost a whole month passed, we finally went back to the parks. We started going to the parks now, more regularly. Before we had to actually plan a trip to, go to the theme parks, and now it's not really a thing for us to plan. Like nowadays we just mark it on our thing and we just go, because I mean we're much closer now to the theme parks than we were before. We're not that far away, and it's very interesting. It's complete mood shift now. Plus I feel like where we are living now, it's a whole lot better than where we were living, after, acclimating to, this area. It's been pretty different, not a lot of people think about that, but it's been pretty different, it's calmer, the temperature is better, neighbors are fantastic. I mean, it's a really unique experience to kind of like have this complete change in your life, and now you see some positives coming into it, which is really fun, and I'm very glad. All right, quick intermission here on our vlog. We have a little duckling here, little duck. She's probably searching for a place to lay her eggs or something. Come on. I'm trying to approach her as slowly as I can, but she keeps walking away, so I'm just gonna give her space. So what came after the move? Well, I had my birthday at Disney. I had, I got to ride, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind several times. We went back for special events like Disney Plus Day. We got to see so many different concerts. I mean, oh my God. We saw Ray Parker Jr., we saw Billy Ocean, we saw, who else? Well, Kenny G was probably the one that stands out the most in my mind, is Kenny G, and that was a fantastic concert, and highly recommend it if you guys are ever going to the theme parks. Go see Kenny G. It's a fantastic concert. So speaking of things that have already happened this year, one of the incredible things that happened in August was that my dad's friend came to visit. Now, believe it or not, we were talking about this trip of his since probably 2019, 2020 was when he was kind of like already planning out his trip to come visit us. And his goal was for us to just hang out, at our house. And back then, we were living in South Florida. And now that we moved up, the story is a little bit different because he had no idea that we had moved. And that was just an absolute surprise to him because, come on, I mean, if you come to Florida, more than likely you are interested in seeing some sort of, theme park-esque thing. So honestly, that was a huge surprise to him and his family, and they had no idea that we had moved. So it was such a fun and heartwarming experience, and I think most people who do watch that vlog will see that. And just to see, them having fun and enjoying themselves and seeing this, sort of like new place and this sort of like magical experience was incredible. And just being able to give them something unique for them to experience was honestly, I loved it. It was just, there's just no words to put to that other than it was incredible. And they got incredible photos out of this trip, and honestly, I believe that if you see these photos, you'll want to go and take those photos too because they look great. So yeah, that was probably one of the most impactful things this year that we did, which was really cool. So something that happened after our musical trip to Disney that most people probably watched, or some people watched, was that we were visited by one of my dad's DJ friends who's actually from France, who's DJ Chalk, which is really cool. He came over to our house, we invited a couple friends, we did like this sort of little party at our house, and it was just really fun, and we had a blast with him at our house, and just listening to good music and having everybody dance. It was just really, really, really cool, and that's just a really fun party experience that I will definitely remember. So obviously there were like little things that happened this year that obviously kind of get lost in the shuffles and ruffles of the mind, and things like a hurricane. We went through a hurricane here where I live, and Hurricane Ian was a pretty big deal. I mean, he crossed over the house here at a Category 1, luckily, and even then, we had some flooding in the area, which was really wild. I mean, people would not believe how much water got super close to where we live. So thankfully, how the house is built is that it's pretty high up, so I mean, we didn't have to worry too much about that. But yeah, the hurricane was a big deal. We went to Savannah this year. These are things that kind of get lost in the mind because you're so focused on different things that you forget that this year we went to Savannah. We actually went out for a working trip to Savannah, and Savannah's an incredible city. I mean, heck, you guys should see it on the vlog. It's a really nice city. Man, there are so many little things that happen this year that sometimes get lost, that the best way to do it is making those little mini vlogs. So once you guys watch those mini vlogs, you guys will be able to see for yourselves the little tiny things that happened this year that made it very much worthwhile. So definitely go check those out. And now I know what you might be asking yourselves. You mentioned in a previous vlog that we're going to do a sort of holidays vlog and talk about all the different holidays and all the different things that happened during those holidays. And I thought, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to put those holidays on here, because that's just footage that if I don't put on this vlog, it's just going to sit on my computer forever, and I'm never going to have a reason to show this to you guys. So let's go ahead and start the holidays portion of this vlog. So let's start with the first holiday that we had going through the holiday season, and that was Halloween. Halloween was very quiet here. Believe it or not, people here are not as enthusiastic about Halloween as I thought. I thought people around here would be super pumped for Halloween, and I thought we were gonna get a bunch of people, coming to get candy and all that, and ultimately that didn't happen. And in fact, people here are very much to themselves when it comes to Halloween, which is surprising because, we usually prepare for these things, and back where we used to live, we would get 300-400 sometimes kids, coming in and, getting candy. That's the norm. And for us, this time, it was kind of surprising. It was kind of whoa, that's different. So yeah, Halloween was pretty quiet and kind of a surprising thing to see. And obviously, right after Halloween, we get into November, and that's when we get Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving, if anything, shows us that it's a holiday that is very important, especially this year. I think that this year, even though we didn't do anything big, we just stayed home, we ate, we just, had a very chill Thanksgiving Day. And because of the World Cup, Brazil was playing, which was really cool. And it was really just a very quiet Thanksgiving, just us three, and nothing extraordinary other than seeing Brazil play, which was pretty cool. Now we move on to Christmas. Now, when it comes to Christmas, sometimes you want to get into the Christmas spirit, and you want to celebrate Christmas in a whole different way. And this was the way to celebrate Christmas. And we did the decorations, kind of like what we did here. Very nice, very cool, very fun decorations. A whole lot less than we normally do because the house really isn't that big. But yeah, we did the decorations, and I think they turned out really well. I mean, see for yourselves. And now we reach here, 31st of December of 2022. And man, looking back on this year, it's been a very wild ride. It's been ups and downs and curves and all these crazy things, and honestly, it's really a year for you to like stop and listen and kind of like enjoy yourself a little bit, because yeah, dude, like, believe it or not, like, people are still recovering, like, emotionally and physically from COVID from like 2 years ago, which is wild to think about, because it doesn't feel like it was 2 years ago. It feels like it was a lot less than that. But yeah, like, we went through a pandemic, and now people are still kind of like slowly opening up, because it's traumatizing. I'll be honest with you, it's a traumatizing situation, but I've kept a sort of positive mindset, and I think that is the important thing. You know, if there's anything that this year has taught me, is that to believe in the process. 2022 was about believing in the process. You know, if you see something difficult, like, you know, not only are you going to face it head on, but make sure that you keep in your mind that it is going to work. It is going to be okay. You know, you will be able to accomplish that one thing. So just keep that in mind and keep going, and, you know, it'll work out. Ultimately, what I believe is that, you know, whatever is to come in 2023 is ultimately something positive. It's going to hopefully bring something good to us, and kind of like be a year of perception. It's a year about us being able to perceive the world differently, and hopefully people will do and be kind to one another this year. Honestly, I hate to sound like Ellen in this moment, but it's true. Just be kind, be good. You know, don't you know, lash out at people this year. Be good, be positive, and I'm pretty sure this year is going to be a very fun and very unique year for us. So thank you guys so much for watching, and instead of ending this vlog in a sort of like, what's gonna happen, I'll just leave you with footage from today, you know, New Year's Eve, and possibly us counting down. So thank you guys so much for watching, and Happy New Year, and onward to 2023.